Whether you're considering a new home, a new car, a boat, FYI, just don't get the boat, or a hefty tuition, there are a couple things that you want to use as filters to make sure that you get these decisions right. And by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to do, so you'll have some clarity going into your decision making. What's going on? My name is Brad, and you are watching the Millennial's Guide to Money, where we teach you how to dominate your finances so you can own your life. Let's start with number one. Number one is asking yourself, why is this necessary or important? And really, if it's necessary or important. If this is a big purchase like a car or a house, you really need to put a lot of logic behind it. Now, at least with an education, it's an investment. Yeah, there's some educations that are way overpriced and it's not worth it, but you really gotta ask yourself, what is it that I am getting from this purchase? If it's like a $2,000 suit, you gotta be honest with yourself. You just want it. You want a nice suit, but that's not an investment. That's not like, if you want the dopamine fix, then go out and get Ben & Jerry's ice cream and watch a movie and enjoy it. But don't let your need for celebration cost you your income for the next 5 or 10 years, or put you in a situation where you're tied to a job you don't like for years and years and years because you really just want to splurge and enjoy something for a day or two. The perfect example of this is weddings. Now, usually it's females that love these big extravagant weddings, and some guys like it too. But honestly, it's one day, and as special as you want to make it, don't mortgage your future. Don't like ruin your relationship because you're putting yourself in such a big hole because you're investing so much in an 8-hour experience. It's not worth it. Number two is never make any big decision without sleeping on it. Now, I'm not a very emotional guy. I'm a super Virgo, which means I'm all about logic. It's all about numbers for me. But once in a while, emotions come in, and sometimes you're not aware of how emotional you're being, but you never want to make a big decision that's going to affect you for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years on a whim. You want to make sure it makes the most sense, so always delay and make sure that it's logic that's making the answer, not all this emotion. Number three, get unbiased advice from quality sources. Unbiased means don't ask the Honda salesman if the Honda is a good car, if you should buy an Accord, if you should do that. Of course he's gonna say, buy the Honda, don't go to Hyundai, don't go to Toyota, don't go to anyone else. He is biased, he has money to gain. Same thing with realtors. Don't ask realtors if you should buy a house or sell. They want your business, so whatever it is they want to do, they're gonna tell you, yeah, go for it, just have me represent you. And that is not fair. That is not right. You want unbiased sources. Now, that also means don't ask your mom, hey, what do you think of this? You can ask your mom about real estate, but unless she's qualified, unless she's experienced, you don't want to take her advice very seriously. It's like, I'll ask a mechanic about a car issue. Now, he might want to sell me something, but at least I know that he's knowledgeable. I'm not going to ask my dentist about my car issue. I'm not going to do that, but I will ask people that can't make money from me, aren't looking to make money, that there's not going to be a sell, but also they have the quality advice. Make sure they cross off both boxes right there. Number four is determine the true value of the purchase. Whether it's a home, a car, an education, you gotta run some numbers and figure out what exactly this is worth. Just because you feel like buying a new car doesn't mean you should pay $40,000 for it. Maybe you really like the car, but you're like, you know what? I think I can get it for $30,000, or that's what the value is to me. No matter what it is, whether it's a rental property, a vehicle, an education, a wedding, whatever it is, you got to make sure that it's worth the cost, especially with these big purchases that's going to affect your budget for the next few years, or it's going to really just affect how your lifestyle is because you'll be paying for it for a while. Number five is a big one, and it helps with determining the value, which is analyze the opportunity cost. This is what most people don't do, and what I love doing is opportunity cost analysis. For example, if you decide to go to school and spend $30,000 a year on a college education, you gotta really do some brainstorming as to what else you could be doing with all those years, all those hours, and all that money that you'll be spending. Is it really worth going back to school, going back to that school, spending that much time getting that degree? What is the payoff? What do you think it's going to be? Also, what are the alternatives? That is opportunity cost. If I interned somewhere else for 2 years and I got that education for free, I may not have gotten money from them, from the company to intern, but at least I didn't have to pay them to intern. Will that do me just as good? Will it help me even further? If I don't get this car, but instead get a motorcycle and I can get from point A to point B and I can invest a $20,000 difference in a rental property, does that make more sense? Or should I attend this seminar? Should I gain this skill? Should I do this? There are endless possibilities of opportunity cost because you could do so many things with your time and money, but you at least want to get 4 or 5 really solid alternatives so you have a better perspective as to what else you could be doing with your time and money. The best thing we can do in life is make the decisions that benefit us short term, medium term, and long term. It's not easy. We never see what's on the other side. We only see what decision we made, and hopefully that's the right one, but at least we can try and piece together alternatives so we make the best decision with the knowledge we have. Last but not least, you gotta be honest with yourself and ask, can I afford this in case of an emergency? If my spouse loses her job, if I go on disability, if all these things happen, can I really afford this? Because guess what? The economy has been strong for so long that people forgot what 2008 was like. They forgot what the dot-com bubble in 2000 was like. And you know what? We live in a debt cycle. If you don't believe me, check out Ray Dalio's video on how the economy works. It's phenomenal, but it shows that we are going to have another recession. That's just how things work in our economy, and it's normal. Don't freak out, but you gotta prepare for it. That means that you gotta cut back on the $8 gourmet cupcakes and the $6 kombuchas, and that means if you wanna buy a $400,000 house and you're barely affording it now, that is not a good move because you can't assume that you'll keep your job and you'll keep going up in income and the house will keep going up in value. That is not safe at all. History repeats itself. Please don't make that mistake. Always live within your means, and when it's a big purchase, you gotta ask yourself, if I was making 35 to 40% less income, can I still afford it? If the answer is no, I would seriously consider not doing it, especially when it's not an investment. When it's a car, when it's clothes, when it's a vacation, when it's anything like that, don't do it. If it's going to bring you back more money, you can be a bit more flexible. But the economy is a real thing. The cycles are real, and we will have a recession sooner or later. Don't screw yourself. By now, you've probably realized that I take all the fun and enjoyment out of these purchasing decisions, which is, well, just what Virgos do. But the whole point is to help you make the best decision possible, because in these areas, it really affects the rest of your life and the trajectory you're on. So just get this down right, use these filters, and you'll be well on your way to dominating your finances and owning your life. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.